r/askreddit, what are your thoughts on Trump's sexual abuse verdict? I've seen that documentary Selena Scott did with him back in the 80s, he was borderline sexually assaulting her, on camera, so not surprised at all. Vile piece of shit. Or that interview he did on the show Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous in the 90s where he wondered out loud about how large his infant daughter's breasts would be someday. That guy has always been a pervert. Link. The deposition video showed that Trump's personality is not an act. There was no upside whatsoever in his doubling down on the grab them by the pussy statement. But he did double down. Then he went further and insulted the female deposition lawyer. This is why every lawyer he has is so desperate to keep him from being deposed or taking the stand for his myriad of cases. It's like putting someone's dementia-ridden grandfather who thinks they're never wrong on the stand. He's, fittingly, his own worst enemy. The only person who convicted Trump was himself. Did you see the dispositions? Basically, he said it was okay for a star to grab a woman by the pee if you were a star, but he didn't grab her. Then he said she wasn't his type and never met her, but in a photo of her standing next to him, he identified her as Marla Maples, his ex-wife. Not his type? Never met her? You can say pussy on Reddit. If you have $2 million, you can sexually assault someone. If you have $5 million, you can do it and then rake that person's name through the mud. Trump might not be a billionaire, but he's not going to miss $5 million, especially since he'll probably write it off as a campaign expense somehow and his supporters will pay for it. I hope that Jean Carroll feels okay with it, but I certainly don't. It will have no impact on his popularity. It's just more exposure for him. Given the number of accusations against him over the years, I found it likely that at least one of them, though probably more, would be proven true. I didn't even realize he was on trial for that. I thought he was on trial for hiding documents or something. There are at least 26 women, some were girls allegedly, who have claimed he assaulted/raped them. I wonder if they will begin civil cases as well. It won't change my opinion of him. The man is and always has been a cunt. That's being unfair to cunts. He lacks the warmth and depth. I think the fact that Trump himself made it clear as day before the 2016 election that he was a sexual abuser via the Access Hollywood tape, and conservatives proceeded to make him the most powerful figure on earth, says a lot about the state of our nation. Brainwashed morons literally drawing pictures of him as Jesus being crucified for the sins of the evil Biden government. Never has there been cringe like Trump supporters with a misplaced rage boner. It should matter. It won't. Anybody who still supports him will continue to until hell freezes over plus a day. He should be doing some hard time for raping children. He is a pedophile. It doesn't matter. Non-cultists know he's a misogynist woman abuser. He's admitted as much. This verdict changes nothing. Cultists don't believe anything said about him, and any evidence is a Democratic conspiracy. This is no different. To be honest, I've been hearing or reading about fuckface Von Clownstick since the 80s, and I'd really prefer to live out the rest of my life without ever coming across its name, or a video of it, or stumble onto a photo of its minions. So glad for the laws in New York regarding sexual assault. We don't need to protect sexual predators or abusers. He's on trial for that as well, and I think there's like 3 more going on, but I may be getting the number wrong and it may change depending on which day of the month you see this reply. Okay, but he wasn't actually prosecuted for rape or sexual assault. I don't think there's a statute of limitations on it in that particular state, but the evidence is so old that no prosecuted would ever take the case anyway. Instead, she filed a civil suit against him for saying she was lying and besmirching her reputation, which has a much lower burden of proof, and doesn't require government prosecutors to get involved. To be honest, I'm just fucking sick of seeing that guy, and now he's all over the news, again. It's because Trump is good for network ratings. All the media profess to hate him, but they love the money he brings to their table. Is anyone surprised that it happened? The abuse, no. The verdict, a little. Shocked that Mr. Grab Her by the Pussy is a sexual predator? Not in the slightest. It won't move the dial 1 millimeter for his supporters. The people who, for decades, preached family values already lined up behind him, knowing he was thrice married, a serial cheater, someone who brags about sexual assault in the crudest terms, someone who ripped off anyone who ever did business with him. I could go on and on. For them, Trump is the manifestation of what they wish they could be, namely assholes to everyone else with impunity. Well said.